how's it going? Nico, Scarlet Moon here with your weekly tarot reading for the week starting April 27th, 2020. And yeah, I'm not appearing on video in this horoscope, and that is actually due to some interesting shifts, some really cool ramp-ups that have been going on in my spiritual practice over the course of the last few weeks, or even the last few months. You know, those of you who have been watching my non-horoscope videos and keeping up with me and whatnot know that it's been getting more and more difficult for me to kind of slow down, and that's because I'm approaching this really cool 0 point dynamic when it comes to how my information is coming through me through my guides and my higher levels. And so it's just gotten to a point where I need to be able to look at everything, absorb the information, read it, record it, edit it, and go. I'm doing it step by step, and slowing it down is pulling me off the frequency, pulling me off my wavelength too much. And so I feel like this is going to be a better way to go for me. Now, don't worry, I'm still going to be appearing in non-horoscope videos. It's not like I'm just hiding out and not showing up at all. Don't worry about that. I will be here. But I've just got to make this shift for the, to get the best outcome here, and of course to honor my own work and my own journey here. So there's just something there for you guys to all know what's going on. And if people are skipping the intros and asking why I'm not appearing on video, tell them not to skip my videos anymore. How about that? Also, Incoming Wave will be coming out here very soon, and if you ever want to get a session with me, go to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com. So let's have a look and see how things are playing out over the course of this coming week. This week is all about you throwing your weight around, Leo. I feel like something has to be done with this Chariot card as your overarching theme. This week is all about you kind of taking off any kind of masks or any kind of armor that you have had, or any kind of costumes that you've had put on to appease others. And that is a very strong message that's coming out, because when I'm looking at these other cards, the King of Wands reversed, the Ten of Wands reversed, it does look like we are also seeing some consequences for trying to maybe live too much by the rules of either a standard, a community, a market, a family, something that ultimately we are trying to hold the love and respect and maybe even honor from, but also at the same time we're doing more capitulating to them, doing more surrendering to them than actually doing good for them or ourselves. Because the Chariot card upright is giving this very, very strong impression that not only do we have you overcoming obstacles and gaining a huge boost in your power and influence over many people and environments, but you're actually sort of given a duty with this to start whipping those things into shape, focusing on authenticity, and maybe even starting to change certain dynamics and certain connections, certain relationships that have kind of lost their way, so to speak. And this might even speak in bigger ways when it comes to, say, work, art, creativity, your own spirituality. Where have certain things lost their way? Where has maybe a certain ideology, a certain group, a certain way of thinking, or maybe even something going on in a work project, a family tradition, lost its way or taken over and sort of negated or maybe blocked any kind of growth in a situation where it's like missing the point? The best way I could describe it is that if somebody makes something all about one thing, even though it's supposed to be across the board, accomplishing many things. You know, I've said it before when it comes to how I do my readings. I do not do my readings from the perspective of trying to give a therapeutic or recovery experience, even though that is something that is kind of, and I accept it, but it took me back at first when I first started working on YouTube. That's kind of what a lot of spiritual literature in the 20 teens was all about. Well, sometimes, even with best intentions, certain things can lose their way. You know, in the case of things like that, we talk about like wounded healer narratives and whatnot. Where in your life has something kind of lost its way, almost becoming sort of a one-note thing, or starting to serve maybe a cause to the detriment of everything else it's supposed to serve? The Chariot card upright is talking about getting everything back in line, everything back under control, throwing your weight around to reform, restore, rebalance, and heal things in your life that have ultimately maybe begun to go in a lopsided direction. In fact, looking as we get into the King of Wands reversed, the Ten of Wands reversed, it does look like when it comes to material concerns and social concerns, there seems to be some drama getting stirred up. And I don't feel like this is you. I feel like with the King of Wands reversed, this is another person. There's some drama getting stirred up in a way that needs to be quelled, and it's drama that is a symptom of, again, that work group, that, you know, or that culture, or that circle, or that family unit, or that friendship group that is basically taking on, I guess you could say, human form. The drama is coming from, yes, one or two specific people, but there is a reason that was ever allowed to exist in the first place, and you're supposed to kind of go and confront that, to negate it, dissolve it, neutralize it, and then, you know, kind of bring things back to a place of true authenticity. You know, to even stop doing some of the things that you may have done to enable things to get that far. Because of the King of Wands reversed, well, financially, you know, in terms of, you know, material resources and things like that, this week is actually pretty good. But it's almost like the opportunity to cash in, the opportunity to get to work, to get things done on time, is going to be hampered, or there's going to be something detracting from the work in question, detracting from actually getting the job done, maybe on time, maybe at all. So we have to pay attention to what this external force is, and it does look like it's coming from, I guess you could say, what you might consider to be your community. And we all have, you know, our quote community, our quote people that, you know, are sort of like, yeah, they're a part of that tribe or that tribe. But sometimes, and more often than not, it's the people who are in our tribe that co-create our reality more than the people who are outside of our tribe. Those we share energy, that we share people, that we share space, that we share that common ground with, contribute more energy to our reality than anyone outside of it ever could. And so this is a week where a lot of you are getting a chance to sort of get ahead, right? The conquering hero chariot upright is asking for you to be brave enough to elevate yourself by actually helping to quell a sickness that's going on in your own world, in your own industry, in your own circle, in your own job, in your own office, however it's working. And if you can, with the Ten of Wands reversed, we have the release of some kind of burden, the release of some kind of major high maintenance obstacle. Maybe it's overly dramatic, maybe it is, again, disproportionate, destructive, adversarial, but the Ten of Wands reverse is indicating a release. Sounds like something popped in the kitchen, so I guess that was your sign, adversarial. We're getting rid of this influence, but you have to be brave enough to call it out, because I feel like this week people might be afraid to call a spade in this respect. People might be afraid to have that acknowledged for what it is, because maybe people know what you're talking about, but they're afraid to do it because they are worried about maybe taking ownership of where they may have helped create that monster. Now, with the Ten of Wands reversed, there is a release from a lot of dysfunctional connections this week. But with the Chariot card upright, we also see this in a way where you're socially downsizing, but you're socially downsizing quantity for quality. And so there's a wonderful breakthrough here if you're allowing yourself to accept this change. Maybe it won't elicit the most positive responses in the beginning, but you have backup out there. You're brave enough to step forward. It's an I'm Spartacus kind of situation. Just you wait and see. As we get into your emotional life, your relationships, well, we've got the Five of Wands upright, and it does feel like there is going to be a clash of tastes or a clash of types, a clash of aspirations that needs to be addressed in existing relationships and even brand new ones. What direction are we going to be going in? What is our end game, or what is our highest trajectory, our highest hope for our romantic life or our family? Well, it might be at odds with somebody that we're seeing and what they aspire to. It might be at odds with something that our partner is gunning for. Now, the important thing is to be a good sport with this. Don't take it personally. And remember, with the Five of Wands, things do not have to get hostile. In fact, whoever's bringing hostility to the situation, or again, getting emotionally disproportionate, is really kind of bringing more of that toxicity we're trying to quell. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to go there. But with the Five of Wands, it can indicate a need to pay attention. Okay, we don't want to be competing with each other, right? When it comes to either a new or existing romance, we don't want to be competing over who's going to get the future they want to have. We have to find a way to address where we might accidentally be working against each other's intentions or each other's purposes this week. Even if you're with somebody new, you may find out they've got a completely different end game or timeline in mind. It's nothing to take personally. It's nothing to write a book about. It's just something that we have to be brave enough to address, because I find that with the Five of Wands, there is something that is always a happy medium, or maybe even a happy 100% win for both of y'all or everyone involved. But this has to be something that we can at least actually face, as opposed to try to continue the tug of war with. This isn't about winning. This is about getting on the same page. So that is what I've got for you, Leo people. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And should you ever want to get a session, go on ahead to my website. It's called integrativemysticism.com.